going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Burning Hammer podcast. I'm your host, Mark Izzo, and alongside me, as always, is the other host, Dillon O'Brien. Dillon, let me get a shirt check.
Mark, what's going on? Today's shirt check, I actually do think I wore this on my first episode on the pod, but it was before we started doing the shirt checks. My goal is to never repeat a shirt on the pod for every shirt check. That's going to be difficult because we don't plan on stopping anytime soon, but I'm willing to do it for you guys. All right, so I'm investing my own money, my time into getting some good shirts to show off each week for you guys. And this week we got none other than I wanted to wear this shirt in honor of we did get some news from Big E. And Big E looks like he is on his way to having a full and healthy life after his neck injury. It looks like that is something we're going to do. That is something he's going to be able to do. So I wanted to wear this in honor of him. We still don't know if he's ever going to be able to return to the ring, but of course with Big E and anybody that gets injured, number one priority is just making sure that they're going to be able to live a full and healthy life. That's, of course, what everyone wants for Big E. Big E Langston. Such a great guy. So I wore this in honor of him, in honor of the good news that he will be able to successfully live a healthy life. And I wore the Run DMC style classic New Day Rocks t-shirt.
Dillon, I'm going to be honest, cannot see your video right now. So I missed like all of that, which is cool. I think it's on your end if you're listening. I know what shirt he's talking about. I'm sure once we get him back in and everyone can see him, then we'll do another. We'll do an update on his.
Bro,
shirt.
I think it's got to be your end.
I don't think it is.
It's not my end.
I don't think it's my end, dude.
I see you.
Well, I don't see you. It says live.
What is my screen?
Live video will return when their internet improves. So, yeah. Anyway, I will give you my shirt check.
Mine is recording on my end.
Just maybe they did see it. We'll figure it out.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, Mark, can I get a shirt check?
And so for my shirt, this is one of the moments, at least for me, that I will personally never forget for as long as I'm alive. It was one of the most memorable wrestling moments for me and for the start of a very successful company in AEW. I have the little bit of the bubbly t-shirt. Chris Jericho won the AEW world title. He went to celebrate with everyone. No one was there. He celebrated by himself. And this became a pretty big meme and everything like that. But we got a little bit of the bubbly t-shirts.
Hell,
one of my
great.
favorite t-shirts of all time. This is definitely one that I'm going to keep forever. So
yeah, hell yeah.
All right, there you go. Two pretty sweet t-shirts. We both have a goal of bringing and wearing a new t-shirt every time we record a podcast. I've got an okay amount. I'm definitely going to have to get more, but that'll be a problem for a few weeks down the line. So, jumping into the episode, we've had a few big things happen. So, we're going to talk about Smackdown, we're going to talk about Raw, and then we're going to get into AEW, which by the time you're watching this is tonight. So, Smackdown, it was another really good show, as every weekly show seems to be now for WWE that Triple H has taken over. We had some pretty big things happen. The first thing I'm going to talk about is that Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, I think that's how you pronounce it, of Toxic Attraction. Mm-hmm. They replaced Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. In the women's tag team tournament, they did end up winning. And it was their call up to the main roster, WWE. I don't think they're going to be a part of the main roster full time, but we got to see what they're about. They wrestle mostly for NXT. They're part of Toxic Attraction, along with Mandy Rose. And
current NXT Women's Tag Team Champions.
And Mandy Rose is the current NXT Women's Champion. They've been killing it in NXT, and in case you weren't familiar with them or you don't watch NXT much, they gave you a little taste of what NXT is about. Honestly, I don't watch NXT that much. It really hasn't been for me lately, but hopefully with Triple H in charge of WWE, he can straighten out NXT. There's been reports, rumors that he wants to change it back to sort of the old black and gold days, so hopefully that's something that he can do. But Gigi Dolan and Jossie Jane, they had to forfeit their spot in the women's tag team tournament. It was announced, I believe on Monday, that Gigi Dolan suffered an injury, so they will be holding a second chance fatal four-way to take their spot in the women's championship in the WWE Women's Tag Team Tournament, and that's going to take place this Friday night on SmackDown. Another pretty big thing that happened on SmackDown was there was an epic fatal five-way match where the winner got to take on Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion, for the Intercontinental Championship at WWE Clash at the Castle, which I believe is just under 2 weeks away. Dillon, did you watch this fatal five-way match?
I did, and this is definitely, in my opinion, is a contender for like the best for match of the year on like a weekly program, on a WWE weekly program. This match was awesome, dude.
Yeah, this match was insane. If you haven't watched it, I really, really recommend that you pause this, go watch it, and then come back and finish the podcast because it was pretty epic. To me, it was pretty obvious who was going to win just looking at the field. Sami Zayn was a part of it. I believe it was in Montreal.
In his hometown.
Montreal, right?
Yeah, in his hometown of Quebec. Yeah, Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Yeah. And so he got a massive ovation as he so much deserved. And
that huge pop. He was definitely the baby face he was definitely the crowd favorite the whole match.
Yeah. And that
the crowd was pulling for Sammy the whole time.
That crowd was alive, man. It was awesome.
Dude, yeah, that crowd was sick. Canadian wrestling crowds always are. I feel like so who was it? It was Zayn, Sheamus, Ricochet,
Corbin, and
Owen?
No,
it wasn't
in
Owens.
it. And Madcap.
Yeah, and Madcap. So fatal five-way, and the right person won in my opinion, and we got the Sheamus victory, and not only are we getting the IC title on a pay-per-view, we are getting the IC title on a pay-per-view in the UK, and it is Sheamus challenging Gunther in the UK for the IC title. I mean, what a great first IC title match back on pay-per-view for over a year. It's the first one on pay-per-view in over a year, and dare I say it was worth the wait?
Yeah, so
we'll have to see, I guess. But it's looking like it might be, dude. Sheamus versus Gunther is going to be awesome. Sheamus is at this point he's been in WWE for over a decade, probably close to a decade, if not. And he it's the only title he has yet to hold. He's going for the Grand Slam by winning the IC title. And Sheamus is just, you know what I mean? He's always been great. You know what I mean? He's always been, I think Sheamus's biggest problem in his career was that he was just pushed to the top way too fast. You know what I mean? He was just forced down everybody's throats. But he's fucking talented, dude, and he's massive, and he knows what the fuck he's doing. he's a beast, and he's going to be in the UK going up against Gunther, and that is going to be a hard-hitting, strong-style fucking match.
Yeah,
dude.
I can't believe that Sheamus has never held the Intercontinental title. That blew my mind.
Well, dude, I swear it's because he literally came on and got the WWE title immediately. They made him a main eventer so quickly that it was like, you know what I mean? It took a while for him to get back down to the mid cards, I feel like.
Yeah. And this, if he wins the IC belt, it will be
He also had a
it'll be his final belt and to give him the Grand Slam. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And I was actually thinking Sheamus also did have a really good run with Cesaro in the bar. That was they held the tag titles for a really long time.
That was a really good tag team.
They were
underappreciated during their time for sure.
Yeah, definitely. They were awesome actually. And I almost bought I saw a shirt. I saw the bar shirt not that long ago. A little more expensive than I wanted to pay, but it was dope. I wanted to get it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Sheamus went on. He went on to win. He's now facing Gunther for the Intercontinental title at Clash at the Castle. And we have 5 matches on that card right now, which is Riddle versus Seth Rollins. We have the team of Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka taking on Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. We have the undisputed WWE Championship match, which is Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, and then we have the SmackDown Women's Championship match, which is Liv Morgan taking on Shayna Baszler. I read a report on Twitter that WWE filed a new trademark for a new name, and people think that it's going to be the name of Bayley's faction, and it was called. And I am blanking on the name right now, so I will come back to you once I have that name. Sorry to do that to you, but you can look it up. I completely forget.
Let's pull it up.
I think it's called Control something, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can try to find it. Damage Control. That's what it was.
Yeah. Fire. That's good. I like that.
The control is like abbreviated, so it's like CTRL or something like that.
Yeah.
That's going to be an awesome match. Clash at the Castle is looking like it's going to be really good. If they just had these 5 matches, it has the potential to be show of the year. I'm looking forward to see what matches they add to it. If I had to take a guess, I would say they're probably going to add Edge versus Finn Balor on there. They should.
Yeah, I'd say Edge versus Finn Balor. I'd be surprised if they didn't add a U.S. title match. Probably it might end up being either like Ciampa or The Miz, or it could end up being AJ, and then Dexter Lumis somehow gets involved. But I'd be really surprised if they didn't add a U.S. title match.
I could also see them doing Rhea Ripley against Beth Phoenix or some sort of mixed tag team match, because I don't know if you saw it, but on Monday Night Raw, before we get to like the major thing that happened on there, which I'm sure you all know what happened, but Finn Balor was taking on who was he wrestling? I forget. Finn Balor was wrestling someone who I currently cannot remember. Balor ended up winning Dolph Ziggler. He wrestled Dolph Ziggler. He beat him after the match. No, this was the Edge match. I'm sorry. The Edge versus Damian Priest was the main event. Edge obviously got a big pop because he is from Toronto, Canada, and that's where Raw was taking place. He is on a mission to kill the Judgment Day. I like the idea. I don't know how that's going to happen or what it is going to mean to kill the Judgment Day, but I'm all here for it. This match, again, really good, and it got a good amount of time. I believe it took up the last 20 or 25 minutes of the show, which back before Triple H took over, they would seemingly announce the main event, have everyone come out, and that would be like sometimes 20, 25 minutes before, but then by the time they actually rang the bell, they would just be wrestling for 10 or so minutes. This match was really good. Edge hit a Canadian Destroyer on Damian Priest, which was pretty wild. Again, being in Canada, it was a pretty funny move to hit. And after the match, Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley came out to help Damian Priest because Edge was going to hit Priest with a concerto. Rhea Ripley came out first, hit him right in the nuts, and then Balor came out and then hit him with a coup de grace. And then Beth Phoenix, who was in attendance, she came out to help Edge because they were going to hit him with a concerto. And then Rhea Ripley pretty much stood up to Beth Phoenix when Beth Phoenix had a steel chair, which I thought was incredibly awesome and really badass for them to do and for Rhea to do, because it was literally Damian Priest and Finn Balor just like holding Rhea back, even though Beth Phoenix had a steel chair. Rhea Ripley seemed to not give a damn. So that was pretty sick. Dexter Lumis made an appearance, which was, I thought this was probably his best appearance. I don't know if you saw it, but during the it was Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles taking on The Miz and Tommaso Ciampa, and during the match, Dexter Lumis just kidnapped The Miz. It was awesome. He sort of just like halved him and then just drug him back, and it was, he just had that look in his eyes. No one knows what happened to him. And the thing I really like that they're doing with Dexter Lumis is that they're like acting like he doesn't work there, which I can't remember if they if I mentioned that in a previous episode, but that's what I find really intriguing by this. Is it's just this guy who doesn't even work there, who's just being weird, and then he just kidnapped The Miz. So it'll be interesting to see where Dexter Lumis goes from there. We did see that he sent a letter to Indy Hartwell, I believe is her name, in NXT, which was cool. So I'm really liking how they're doing this Dexter Lumis thing. I can still just close my eyes and see the shot of him dragging away The Miz. Graves had a pretty good line and was great on the call for Dexter Lumis, just constantly saying, how is this guy getting in? What's security doing? He doesn't even work here. Things like that. Did you see this? What did you think about it?
I think they're doing it really well. I think I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I'm interested to see like how long they go before he like talks or someone like addresses it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I like the way they're doing it, and they are kind of lacking that. Who knows if Bray Wyatt is gonna come back or whatever? But they don't have anybody to really play that like super dark character right now. So if Dexter Lumis is gonna be that guy, do it, and I think they're doing a good job of it so far. So him and Karrion Kross.
Yeah, and so something else that I wanted to point out was that Kevin Owens came out and he just beat Chad Gable in a match. They sort of held an open challenge. Alpha Academy also announced that they are looking for a new member to join their team, but they didn't like any of the prospects in Toronto. So then Chad Gable held an open challenge. Said, whoever wants to come out and fight me. KO came out. He came out to his old NXT Jumbotron, and then he had his old NXT duct tape KO t-shirt, which was pretty awesome because we are back to the prize fighter Kevin Owens. He's going back to his roots where he just doesn't give a damn anymore, and he's just beating the absolute piss out of anyone and everyone.
Yeah, it's awesome. They're selling those shirts now too, so it's like really, they're selling the duct tape shirts again. So looks like he's back, man, as the prize fighter, as Kevin Owens. Like the Owens fight, hopefully eventually kill Owens kill.
Yeah. And so
That would be dope if they can make those.
Yeah. With them moving to TV 14, that's definitely something that is seeming to become more in the realm of possibilities. And of course, the biggest thing of the night, of probably since I think is the biggest thing since Triple H has taken over, is we got a return / debut ish of a former NXT wrestler in Johnny Gargano. Johnny Wrestling debuted in Monday Night Raw, and I think they did this really well. What did you think about this, Dillon?
I thought it was awesome. Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, and it really shows how highly they think of him and how highly Triple H thinks of him. To make his return, trust him out there, to just, you know what I mean, to just send him out there, to cut a promo and trust that the crowd is going to be excited about it, and you know what I mean. It just shows how highly they really do think of Johnny Gargano. I mean, they call him Johnny Wrestling for a reason. The guy's incredible in ring. And it's really awesome, and I think it shows. I think it's good for the company too, because that's how you establish somebody as a potential future main event star in that company. You know what I mean? And I mentioned and I said it to earlier, Gargano. People talk about it's always kind of the thing, whatever, but he really is small. He is a small guy. I swear, Mark, I don't know if you saw. I felt like Theory was way bigger than him when Theory came out and interrupted him.
Well,
I felt like Theory looked a lot bigger than him.
Theory's also pretty jacked, so.
Yeah, Theory's jacked. Anyway, it doesn't mean anything on Gargano. I just think it's good for the company because I think it means that hopefully we are literally officially moving out of that fucking where you have to just be tall and ginormous to win titles. It should be, you got to be good at wrestling. You got to be good, you know what I mean? You got to have the whole package. You should, you know what I mean? We've been saying it for years. Everyone knows. And of course we've had our guys you know what I mean? We've had our Daniel Bryans and our Rey Mysterios come in and get it against all odds, but they always go back to their roots in their Cenas and their Lesnars and their Reigns and their Rocks and their Hogans. But looks like in the Triple H era, we could be finally moving in a direction where what matters is your performance in the ring and getting the crowd and entertaining the crowd, as long as the crowd is happy.
Yeah, and so I
gotta entertain the crowd. And Gargano is someone who can do it.
Definitely can, and you could tell by the reaction from the crowd when he came out. And there were a few things that I noted about this whole debut. Number one, there were 0 reports that he was going to debut. No one said anything. Usually with debuts, there will be at least some word going around. Some company will report about it. I believe I would have at least heard about it if Johnny Gargano was going to come back. No one knew this was going to happen. No one reported it at all, which made it that much more special. I believe the Karrion Kross story came out the same day that he debuted, that he was in talks to return with the company. And the same thing with Dexter Lumis. It came out a day earlier or maybe a day or two earlier, but no one knew this was going to happen. I was speechless, honestly, because they came back from commercial break, and then his music just hit, and then
that's what I mean. It really was oh my god,
yeah.
And that's what I mean. For them to really trust him to just have his return just be him going out there to cut a promo, and just having his music hit is it really shows how highly Triple H thinks of him. He deserves it too, man.
And another thing that,
and I hope we get a future DIY run again. And I think
we will too. I think something else that really stuck out to me was the announcers didn't say a single word when his music hit, and literally. I think that was really smart, because I feel like a lot of the time the announcers can sort of influence things and possibly in a negative way, and I think just hearing the crowd's reaction, watching him come out, hearing his music, if you've never seen him before, you could at least tell that he's somewhat of a big deal just based off of the crowd's reaction. And
Yeah.
thankfully, WWE...
His theme song's so good, too. Rebel Heart is awesome.
Thankfully, WWE stopped with that fake crowd noise because it was blatantly obvious that it was highly manufactured and it was not real. And you can tell when crowds are really into it now that they really are enjoying the product. Another thing that I thought was awesome, it's something I'm pretty sure we've talked about it before, that he acknowledged his NXT career. So he came out, he got in the ring, he said, feels good to be back, all that good stuff. And then he said, in case you don't know who I am, I'm Johnny Gargano. And then he went off and he listed his accomplishments in NXT, which was awesome. It's something we said before that under Triple H, that's something that we noticed where wrestlers were acknowledging their past in NXT, their success, all of their title reigns, everything like that. So it's something that's like small, but it really goes a long way because him listing his accomplishments like shows he's the real deal. They don't have to sit there and build him up from the ground. You know, he's the first ever NXT Triple Crown champion, North American champion, NXT champion, tag team champion. He's done a lot.
3-time North American champion. Like he's, part of probably one of the most popular tag teams. He's probably he's one of the most popular superstars in NXT history, if not the most popular. Honestly, like he's top 3. It's like him, Cole, and Ciampa probably.
Yeah, and then something else that I liked was when Theory came out, and they sort of like acknowledged that they had a past before and like everything they did before.
Mm-hmm.
And because I saw someone tweet, and it was like, if a month ago, if Vince was in charge, Ciampa and Gargano and Theory, it would have just been like they had no idea who the other one was, like they've never met before, which I thought was really true because, in case you don't know, Theory, Indy Hartwell, Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano, and Candice LeRae were all in a faction in NXT called The Way, which I thought was pretty good. And so now we have 3 of the members back in WWE. Indy Hartwell's in NXT, and then Candice LeRae is out being a mother. So I thought that was something really cool. I thought they did that whole segment really well.
But I think that means when Candice pops up, she's probably going to pop up in WWE, right?
I think she'd be a great addition.
Like, because I look so dumb right now.
You're frozen, so I can't even see you.
I don't know why. I can see you fine, and I can see me fine. Anyway, because Johnny said, me and Candice are going to pop up somewhere eventually. So I'm guessing they're going to pop up together. And that means eventually Candice will make her return, hopefully.
Yeah.
She would be a great addition to the women's division.
Yeah, and something else that I thought was done really well was, and it's something we've been talking about as well, is he said, ever since I was a boy, I dreamed of becoming United States champion. I've dreamed of becoming Intercontinental champion. And then I dreamed of becoming the WWE champion. But like him saying the US and IC title, I thought was really nice, and it really helps the mid-card
because
title.
It's true. I mean, it's like when we were growing up, man, we grew up and we saw the guys that were holding those titles were treated like real championships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In that Ruthless Aggression era. You know what I mean? Like when John Cena came out with the Spinner US title belt, and Chris Benoit was holding that US title. So many people have held that title, you know what I mean? And especially the IC, it's just it's really great to see them finally establishing some prominence back to the mid-card titles, because they really are, like, what's the point of having them there if they're not going to, you know what I mean? Like, if they're not worth anything? If they're just like a toy in a storyline. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, every storyline was based at, like, 99% of the time it wasn't even about the title. Like, the storyline was about, like, oh, I'm mad at you for this and I want to do this, and then you also have the title.
Yeah, that's
Like, which is okay from time to time if there's, like, I'm not saying there can't be any other built-in storyline, but it takes away from the fact that nobody is going like, I don't care who you are, I just want the title. Like, I just want to win that championship. And it's really great to see them finally bringing it back. Yeah, to that.
that's something that has really bothered me for a long time, is that I always felt like when they had a title match for like the mid-card titles, it was always like, I want to wrestle you and the title happens to be involved. I always felt that it was rare that it was, I want to be Intercontinental Champion and you're the one holding the title, so we're going to fight because I want to be the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that
nobody cares. Yeah. Nobody cared about the title.
I think that it's definitely in good hands with Triple H. And, I mean, you saw it. The IC title, the first time since WrestleMania 37, it's been on a pay-per-view. So, like, that's...
Yeah. And that's the other thing, too, is that I'm saying, like I said, it's not that there doesn't have to be any other, like, well, you know what I mean? There's allowed to be deeper... rooted issues inside the storyline more than just the championship being there. But when it comes to WWE, you have 2 weekly shows, and you have the deepest roster in the world when it comes to wrestling, and it's only getting bigger under this Triple H era. And I'm not saying this like I'm scolding him, because I think he's doing what we're saying. But before this started happening, we've been saying it for so long, the roster is so big. The roster's so deep. You have so many other wrestlers, so much more time to just develop storylines for other reasons. You know what I mean? You don't have to get rid of storylines completely. It's just like, we're just like using the title just because it's there. You know what I mean? There was no real reason for it being there. And now when you're displaying the title as like, okay, this is like, it just makes everything so much easier, because now you have, okay, a storyline is already built because there's prestige behind this title. People want this championship, regardless of everything else. Above all odds, like above all else, someone's going to want to fight Bobby Lashley because he is the U.S. champion. You know what I mean? There's so much more time and so many other, roster members and wrestlers to take up storylines that are more creative and don't have to surround themselves with a title. But for so long, WWE has just been overthinking their storylines for way too long. They just, like, Vince just overcomplicated everything.
Yeah.
Like, everything.
Yeah, and I mean...
But it looks like we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and look at... They just had a fatal 5-way, and look how insane that match was. You know, that just shows how deep their roster was. Those are all, like, mid-card guys that are just... They went out there and they put on an insane match, and we saw it with the 2 triple threat matches on Raw. Again, 6 people... It shows how deep their roster is, all mid-card guys, and it just showed that, A, WWE has a really deep roster, and B, they've got really good wrestlers. So,
yeah, exactly. One thing I do want to mention before we get like too far ahead and I forget, I need to go back and I want to mention on SmackDown. I think what they're doing right now with Sami Zayn in the Bloodline is probably the greatest example of long-term storytelling that we've seen in WWE in a really long time. And I think that it might have started by accident. Like, I don't think it was intended to be what it is. But now with Triple H taking over, because it started before Triple H took over, Sami Zayn saying that he wants to be a part of the Bloodline. And you saw, I mean, did you see the whole bit with him and Roman on Friday was, one, entertaining as hell, and it was like, and it really furthered the storyline as well, like with that, with like Sammy saying, talking to Roman, he's like, "What's up, Oos?" Like, I don't know. And how he was just like, Jay is just like, he's just really mean. You know what I mean? Jay's just been being really mean to me. And he's like, and they were talking, and Roman's like, you know what, man? Like, I kind of agree with you. Like, you've been doing a lot, you've been showing up. Like, he's like, what are you up to? Did you see it?
I saw some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, where he was like, what do you got going on tonight? And he was like, I'm actually in a fatal 5-way match for the #1 contendership for the IC title. And he was just like, yeah, that would look pretty good in the bloodline, huh? And he was like, that's what I'm saying. The way he does it is so funny. And just like, and the way he was like, and Roman was like, and they're not even here right now. And Sammy was like, yeah, but I'm here, right? And it's just like, they really further developed that storyline. And how if they keep having Sammy getting a little bit closer with Roman, it's going to be great, because obviously it's going to piss off the Usos. And then it's got to culminate with Kevin Owens joining his buddy Sami Zayn to take the tag team titles off of the Usos at WrestleMania. I think that's exactly what's going to happen, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a really good option, especially with KO sort of going back to his roots, back to his old NXT days. I think that him and Sami Zayn would be an awesome tag team. I think that
who's gonna beat the Usos besides them? You need somebody with that type of connection, and Sami Zayn's the perfect one because he already has the storyline to build. I'm almost like confident that it's like, I'm saying it as if it's not already happening. I think it is already happening. Like, I think the decision's been made. I think the plan as of now is probably for Zayn and Owens to take the tag titles off them at Mania. I think that's the long-term plan with that storyline.
Well, the problem is that it does feel like the Usos have beaten everybody. It feels like
exactly.
Like,
that's why I think it's the perfect long-term plan. And I think it even goes better with the fact that at Clash in the Castle, I really think they're going to find a way to have McIntyre leave with the WWE title and keep Roman with the Universal title. Because I don't know if you knew this, but this is news. Like, Roman Reigns is now the longest reigning double champion in WWE. This is the longest that the WWE has recognized someone holding 2 different world titles, not as like a unified title. You know what I mean? Every other time they've done it, they've unified it by now, and they didn't with so this is the longest one with someone essentially holding 2 belts and being under one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's how you do it, because honestly, think about it like this: if Drew leaves Clash at the Castle in the UK with both titles after pinning Roman is fucking squashed, dude. Impossible. Doesn't matter how it happens. He's squashed. Like, Drew McIntyre just squashed Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? Like, he cannot, like, it ruins all his momentum. And if Roman Reigns beats Drew McIntyre for both titles and leaves with both championships, everyone's kind of like, not that it's getting almost to the point where we're like, I don't want to hate too hard. It's not getting stale, but we're to the point where it could get stale soon, especially with Roman holding both championships. The only reason it's going to be stale is because he's going to hold both titles. So the best way to do it, and people will be pissed if Roman loses too. I would be pissed if McIntyre leaves with both titles. The best way to fix the situation, when they shouldn't even have fucking combined the titles to begin with, and Triple H probably fucking knows it, you gotta have McIntyre leave with the WWE title. It has to happen. somehow, do you think there's a way that they change it to where it's like first fall takes a title, second fall takes a title?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, cool. What did you hear?
The last thing I heard was that everyone's going to be titles and that Roman walks out with both titles.
So, essentially the only way to do it properly, I think, is to have Drew leave with one title. I just kind of explained. You'll see on the recording. I think you'll probably I'm assuming you're gonna edit it. You'll see the explanation that I just had probably. But just so I don't have to explain it all again.
Yeah. So, I think.
But do you think there's a way that they make? Do you think there's a way that they put in a stipulation where the first fall takes a title and the second fall takes the title?
I think the way to have someone come out with one title is that you have Theory cash in. And so Theory comes
and make it a triple threat
for one title.
Because he cashes in for the WWE.
Yes, and then it's a triple threat just for the WWE Championship. That way, Drew walks out with the WWE Championship, Roman's still Universal Champion, and then he's on his way to becoming the longest reigning world champion in the modern era or whatever they call it. And that way, that sets up Cross to either go after Roman or go after Drew. And then you can have Theory being pissed, go after the other title because he got screwed by the fine print in the Money in the Bank contract.
I was going to say, yeah, I think the way to do it, I was going to say that too. It would be probably have Theory cash in, Drew pins Theory. He's freaking out because he thinks he won both titles. He's holding both titles. And then, whatever, they realize there's, a thing or something. There's, a clause or whatever. And he's like, no, Theory cashed in for the WWE title. You won the WWE Championship. You can't cash in Money in the Bank for 2 championships.
I think
Roman Reigns is still the Universal Champion. And then, it's a thing where, Drew's holding, both titles or something. And he's Roman's looking at him or something. And Drew has to give one back to him or something like that.
I think.
And then it's a stare down with them each holding a title is how it ends. I think that would be good.
I think the way they would do it is because they announce the cash in during the match. The ring announcer will announce it. So yeah. I think it's going to be Theory runs down and he tries to cash in. Goes, I'm cashing in for both. And then Adam Pearce comes out and he's like, whoa.
He's like, you can't cash in for both titles.
Theory,
yeah.
the money in the bank contract states you can only cash in for one title. And then Theory's pissed, but he's like, all right, WWE Championship, because I actually just
he's on Raw.
Well, yes, but also I just remembered that if Theory wins which I guess he wouldn't win the WWE Championship, but it would make sense that he would be the title that he goes after, because if he did win, he would become the youngest WWE champion ever on a technicality basis. Orton was the world champion, and Brock was the WWE champion. Look it up. So I think that's a way to do it, because I don't mind them doing it like how you said it, but I think Roman winning both titles and him thinking he won both titles and then them being like, no, you just won. I think that would take away from the moment too much. I think it would really deflate the crowd.
You think Drew thinking he won both titles?
I think it would deflate the crowd and really kill the moment.
Okay, so I don't fully agree, though, honestly. Just because I think it could happen either way, but I think if Adam Pearce comes out, I think it makes it too obvious that, I think if they announce it before the pin, it makes it too obvious that, it makes it too obvious what's about to happen. If that happens, if Adam Pearce comes out or somebody and they're like, no, you can only cash in on one title for cashing in on the WWE Championship, whatever. And then I think everyone's going to be like, oh, fuck, Drew's going to win. Or maybe that'll be good. I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing.
But I think it'll give away the... Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I think I'd be happy with it happening either way. I think it would be cool. I think it would be a cool, like... I just think it would be a cool stare-down moment of, like of them both holding a championship, like, looking at them.
Yeah.
And, like, looking at each other.
It would be sweet. I can visualize it pretty clearly, but that is like a problem that we have been trying to figure out for the past few weeks is how they're going to get one title off of Roman and how they're going to split the titles.
It's probably going to be through the cash-in. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Or they could make a weird stipulation where it's a first fall and a second fall for each title. But I think it's going to be through the cash-in.
And
I think it's going to happen at Clash in the Castle. I think we should watch that, by the way, together.
It's once Gargano returns, I saw a bunch of people tweet like, "Oh, Gargano's about to beat Theory to gain the Money in the Bank."
Bro, for the contract? Dude.
But then it's like,
yo, they're probably going to add Theory versus Gargano to the card. To
Clash at the Castle?
Dude.
That'd be
yeah.
sick.
Why not?
Yeah. I think, because I like what I said before.
They already have good chemistry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that the way, because I said before they could do the two main events, but I think another way that they could get the titles off, actually, I don't know, maybe like a 2 out of 3 falls. But like if someone picks up a victory, then they get one title or something like that. I don't know. It's tough.
It would be a different fall for each title. It would be first falls for the WWE Championship, second falls for the Universal.
Yeah.
Or the other way around. It would probably be first falls for the Universal. Roman would like pick up the victory, retain his Universal. You know what I mean? And be like, fuck yeah, fuck all you. And then that's when like it would like the comeback of Drew would happen and he would take the WWE.
Yeah.
I think that's how it happens if they do it like that.
And then, the problem then is, what do you do for the second fall?
What do you
You're
mean?
out of titles.
No, you're
Roman
not.
wins.
If you just do
Roman wins Universal, that's 1. Drew wins back the WWE title, that's 2. It's 1-1. Best 2 out of 3.
I'm not saying it should be a 2 out of 3 falls match. I'm saying there should be a match
co-main events
with Drew and Roman where it's like the same match, but the first fall is for the Universal Championship, and the second fall is for the WWE.
Okay.
There's 2 falls in one match, if that makes sense.
All right, I like it.
Like I could see them doing that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like the type of thing where Roman just like fucks him up like hard, and like gets like a dominant pin for the first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that's when, like, the Usos... and then the Usos could fuck him over. The Usos could, like, try to help him and actually hurt him. And then Drew fucking... And then that's how... We should just get fucking hired.
Probably.
We just booked it for him.
And I could also see them doing it, like...
And that would do it cool.
Yeah. I could see them doing it that... The Usos aren't there to help Roman, and then Roman loses the WWE Championship, and then he's pissed at the Usos because they weren't there to help him.
Yeah.
He's like, Us.
Yeah.
What the hell? I'm the tribal chief. Where were you? Also,
yeah,
I think Sami Zayn, just the term honorary Us is really funny to me.
Yeah.
I always just chuckle every time I hear it, and he comes out with his Bloodline T-shirt and that he wrestles in.
His Bloodline shirt T-shirt on.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, repping the Bloodline.
Honorary Us, Sami Zayn. Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they separate the titles and where they go at Clash of the Castle. The more I think about it, the more I think if
Keep talking. Sorry,
It's okay.
I gotta plug in my laptop.
If they have it just be for 2 titles, I can't see them having Drew walk out with both because, like Dillon said, it kills all momentum that Roman Reigns has, and I think Roman Reigns has built up his character enough to where he might not need a title, but him holding both titles really just elevates him and elevates his character. So I think him dropping both titles to Drew, although it would be awesome in long term, it might not be the best thing for WWE to do. But if they are going to have 2 separate matches or something like that, then the pay-per-view is under 2 weeks away, so that's something that they're going to need to get on somewhat soon. So
Yeah, I would think it's probably gonna be the cash-in.
yeah,
Is how they're gonna do it. I'm confident that it's gonna happen at Clash in the Castle.
I'm
You can't keep Roman as the double champion for much longer, dude.
Well-
Like, you really can't.
and I mean we said it before. If you're gonna have Drew McIntyre have his moment, now is gonna be the best time to do it.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. They can't have him leave without a championship in the UK after everything.
You
like,
know, it would be like
it's gonna happen.
if
It's gonna happen.
If Roman wins both titles, it's gonna be like the same energy in like the old ECW days when like John Cena came out and everyone's just like throwing shit at him, or like that one clip
Yeah.
where they're just everyone's throwing their chairs into the ring from ECW, which is
I don't know if it'll be quite like that.
it'd be cool. But
We'll see. I don't know if they hate Roman quite as much as ECW fans hated John Cena.
yeah, I think because we talked about how Drew never got his WrestleMania moment because they had the empty stadiums, but
He was never champion in front of a crowd.
yeah, and so this is pretty much going to be equivalent to a WrestleMania. I think last week, I believe.
This is probably better than his WrestleMania moment.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, crowd number-wise, I read something last week that said they had over 66,000, but that was wrong. They currently we're at 63,000, over 63,000, and the stadium holds up 71,000, so it could surpass WrestleMania in tickets sold, which essentially would give him his WrestleMania moment and a better moment probably than he could have gotten at any WrestleMania, because this is the first time since they said SummerSlam 1992 that WWE returned to the UK in like a major stadium event. So over 30 years. So it's going to be interesting
Hell yeah.
to see how they do that. I'm pumped for it. I think it's going to be a really good pay-per-view. I'm excited to see a premium live event. Excuse me. I am excited to see what matches that they add to the card in the coming weeks. With only 5 matches currently, I think they'll probably add at least 3, possibly 4, maybe a kickoff. So maybe Rhea Ripley versus Dominic Mysterio.
Could happen.
That'd be pretty sick. It won't, but it would be pretty cool. All right, so we are going to, I don't know what time we're at because my time started now from when I entered.
55 minutes.
All right, that's good enough. We're going to hop into the AEW Dynamite card because we're approaching All Out. And actually, it's the same weekend, which is next weekend. So it's going to be next week's going to be a big week for us with Clash at the Castle on Saturday and then All Out on Sunday. So it's going to be pretty sweet. It's going to be a good time to be a wrestling fan. But we have a pretty big Dynamite show tonight. So I'm going to run through the card really quick, and then we'll talk about, obviously, probably just talk about the main event, but we're going to hear from Ricky Starks. Powerhouse Hobbs recently turned on Starks, and then they've sort of been going after each other, but sort of not. Starks has more been going after Hobbs than Hobbs has been going after Starks. We have Dax Harwood, who's going to take on Jay Lethal. They're going to meet at All Out. It's going to be FDR and Wardlow taking on Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh. in a 6-man trios tag team match. We have another match for the AEW World Trios Tournament, which is Death Triangle taking on Will Ospreay and the Aussie Open. That is going to be a really good match. Probably the second best match on the card. Those are 6 guys that really know how to wrestle. We have Billy Gunn taking on his son Colton Gunn after the Gunn Club turned on Billy Gunn, and Billy Gunn aligned himself with the Acclaimed, which it's been a surprisingly entertaining feud between those two teams. We have Britt Baker taking on Kylan King. King just had a match against Tony match, but Baker's pissed that she's not on the All Out card, and I think that they might add her in some fashion because she's one of the best in the world right now. And the All Out card, it's Thunder Rosa taking on Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. Small possibility Britt Baker gets added to that match. Go ahead.
Yeah, we don't have to get into it right now, but we could do a whole other segment on it eventually. But in my eyes, AEW has been lacking in their women's division, hard. We don't have to get into all of that right now, but yeah, that's just something. They're lacking, not because of the wrestlers. It's because of the booking.
Yeah,
they're not booking the women's division very well right now.
I strongly agree, Dillon. I could not agree more. It's something that I noticed, and I know we'll definitely get into another time. I might make a video, I might write about it, but I'm going to do some sort of piece on the fact that AEW is not as good as you think it is, so be on the lookout for that. But in the main event of AEW Dynamite, we have the unification match between CM Punk, the AEW World Champion, and Jon Moxley, the AEW Interim World Champion. Everyone thought this match was going to take place at All Out, including myself. But Tony Khan claims that
I think it's still going to.
I think it is too. But Tony Khan claims that he isn't going to be able to keep these two men separated from each other, so they're just going to have the match at Dynamite. I suspect there will be some shenanigans involved, and like you just said, I think we are getting a match at All Out. What do you think is going to happen in this match?
I think in the match at All Out or on Dynamite.
Or
I guess Dynamite.
The match on Dynamite.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably some shenanigans, no clean finish, then we get a rematch at All Out. Maybe. What the fuck was that?
That was Joey.
Was that Joey Styles?
Joey Styles.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'd say they're gonna change. Maybe they'll make it like a no DQ match or something at All Out.
Well, what do you think's gonna happen on Dynamite? How do you think they're gonna get to the All Out match?
I think there'll be some sort of disqualification or not clean finish or something. I don't think there's gonna be a proper winner. I think it's gonna be a no contest type of thing.
That's what I wrote 3 directions that AEW could take for this unification match. One of them I had as a double countout between Moxley and Punk, but both of them have Champions Advantage, I'm assuming. So that definitely makes things interesting because they both get counted out. They both retain their titles. You can set up the match for All Out that.
Yeah, maybe they do something like that. And then they go no, if you get disqualified or counted out, the title.
There's no Champions Advantage.
You know what I mean? There's no Champion Advantage at All Out. Maybe they set up something like that.
Another thing I had, and I want to get this out on the record, I think we could be in for a return of Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that
I don't think it's gonna happen. You think on Dynamite?
I think to set up a match,
it could happen. Yeah.
I think again going back to the they have champion's advantage. I could see MJF coming out and like attacking CM Punk, and then he gets disqualified. But champion's advantage, they both keep their titles, thus giving you a triple threat match for All Out between MJF, Punk, and Jon Moxley.
And then what do? I think you have MJF win.
I think if he's gonna come back in this fashion, he's gonna win. And then, my third, which kind of sit out there, but basically the same thing, but Page gets involved as well as MJF setting up a fit between MJF.
Yeah, that could be it.
Because Punk, I'm not to this, but Punk came crazy at Hangman Page, and none of that was scripted. No one knew he was going to take those shots at Page, and I think I think Page and retaliate that it would really help him out. So we'll see.
I read some reports. Apparently, CM Punk viewed it as a receipt for things that Page said about Punk. But there's also apparently been rumors that Punk has expressed that his unhappiness with AEW currently. So who knows? I mean, we've seen Punk. We've seen Punk disagree with management before. Obviously, we'll see how it plays out, and let's hope it doesn't explode and get any worse. You know what I mean? Because we would hate to lose CM Punk again. We would hate to have CM Punk come back and then leave us with a bad taste in our mouth. So
yeah,
but I'm confident that we'll be able to figure it. They'll be able to figure it out.
And it's also that's all just stuff that's just like reports. So
it's also just reports. Yeah.
I mean,
don't know much.
So who's really on? There were reports that some people inside the company he might Dynamite last week again. Who knows what's true and what's not? Would be fluid with him and CM Punk. The guys you can tell Punk is very happy here, which was pretty fun. So who knows still when we'll not know still going on backstage. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how they handle this championship match, and I know I'm definitely going to be tuning in. I think essentially they're going to have to set it up All Out this week because, like I said, it's next weekend. We have All Out and Clash at the Castle, so business is going to pick up pretty quick. So it's going to be exciting to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. That's going to wrap it up. We got a good amount of stuff in. I know we usually we'll have a few things written down, but we'll really only get to like the first thing that we want to talk about. So it was nice to talk about a few different things with this episode. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties. We're using a new website, and then obviously we're not in the same room at all, so internet is a bit of a wild card. So I'm sure it'll be better next time, but apologies if you're watching this or if anything seems weird or if we seem off or something like that. We're just using a new website and still getting used. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok. All of those are at @Markizzo_wave. You can follow Dillon on Instagram at O'Brien_wave. That's Dillon as in Dillon. Follow the Burning Hammer podcast on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok. All of those are at The Burnt Hammer. And listen to this via Apple Podcasts or Spotify or some sort of streaming service. Follow us, subscribe to us, comment, rate, all that good stuff. It really helps a lot. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with when we release new episodes. We put out new episodes weekly, along with some content on the side. So, thank you so much for listening. This has been another episode of the Burning Hammer Podcast. Catch you next week.